Hello and welcome to this special episode of our History Podcast, where we will be taking a deep dive into the year 1902. At the time, the world was a very different place than it is today. The early 1900s were a time of great change with new technologies, political movements, and social upheaval reshaping societies around the globe. One of the most significant events of 1902 was the end of the Boer War in South Africa. The war had been raging for several years, and it had been a long and brutal conflict. The British had eventually emerged victorious, and the Union of South Africa was established as a British colony. In the United States, 1902 was the year that President Theodore Roosevelt began his famous trust-busting campaign, aimed at breaking up large monopolies and promoting competition in the economy. This effort would have a lasting impact on American business and politics. Meanwhile, in Europe, the world was still recovering from the aftermath of the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-71. Germany had emerged as a major power, and tensions were high between the various European nations. In Russia, the country was in the midst of a period of great social and political unrest. The working classes were becoming increasingly radicalized, and there were growing calls for political reform. One of the most significant events of the year was the eruption of Mount Pelée on the island of Martinique. The eruption was one of the deadliest volcanic disasters in history, killing over 30,000 people. In the world of science and technology, 1902 was a year of great innovation. The first radio station, Boer in Massachusetts, began broadcasting, and the first Cadillac automobile was produced in Detroit. In the world of literature, the year saw the publication of some of the most iconic works of the 20th century. Beatrix Potter published The Tale of Peter Rabbit, while Joseph Conrad released Heart of Darkness. And in music, the famous American composer John Philip Sousa released The Stars and Stripes Forever. 1902 was also a year of great sporting achievement. The first Rose Bowl football game was played between the University of Michigan and Stanford University, while the world's first indoor ice hockey game was played in Montreal. But perhaps most significant of all was the birth of some of the greatest figures of the 20th century. The year saw the birth of acclaimed philosopher and political theorist Leo Strauss, renowned theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, and the famous German-American architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Overall, 1902 was a year of great change and innovation, with events that would have a lasting impact on the world for decades to come. From politics and business to culture and science, the year saw some of the most significant developments of the early 20th century, and we continue to feel their effects today.